W in the chat if you guys can hear me. Loud and clear. Perfect. The Punisher. A quick mic check. I can't hear you if you're speaking. Maybe I may need to drop off and come back in. Let me do that. Alrighty, I'm back. So maybe my sound system is fixed now. We'll see. The Punisher, you can come off mute and oh, you guys can hear me there. Okay, perfect. Alrighty, well, good morning. Well, maybe it's afternoon, evening. We're depending on whoever is located where. For me, it's the morning. Today's exciting. Finally gonna dive into film. As you all know, we launched on the 5th. It's been a long journey. But the team finally delivered. We delivered. We're gonna get into all your burning questions, concerns, and emotional outbursts. We're here for it all today. Waiting on a few more members of the team to arrive, and maybe we can go ahead and get started. I know some of you all are sending your questions in general chat. Feel free to continue to do that. In the meantime, I'm going to set up the giveaway because as always, we want to make sure that everything you guys do with Gala Film is a rewarding experience. So we're going to continue that with attending events like these as well. So we're going to give away a few I and Aiko moment packs. So give me 1 second to go ahead and get that set up. Oh, hey Top Boy, hey Wonder.
What's going on, Kibby? What's going on, everyone?
I can't hear you. Oh my gosh. I might have to. I had this issue with Peter Draw from I and Ico last time. Can you guys hear me though? Because I can't hear anything you guys are saying.
Yeah, we could hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear. I'll drop off.
I was going to say, Top Boy, she's not going to hear.
You can't? You can hear her?
No, I could hear her, but she can't hear you saying I can hear you.
Yeah, that's funny. I don't know why she was asking that. Oh man, Ed wants to get started on a fight. Okay, let's do this. Yeah,
Okay.
let's
Hello?
bring Ed up here. Yeah, we could hear you. So let's bring Ed up here.
Okay.
And
I can hear you guys
we'll have
now.
some.
Perfect. Perfect. You guys hear me?
Okay.
Or did I cut somebody off?
Yeah, we can. We can. I'm just messing with it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
what's happening there.
we could hear you. It's quite loud
Oh.
actually. Just scream it into your mic.
Okay. I'm screaming. I'm talking. Maybe my settings. Let me start over. Hold on.
No worries.
Does it say I'm screaming now, or is it louder? Is it
Much better.
lower?
Much better. Much better. Much better.
Okay, that was I wasn't screaming. It must have been way too high. Okay. Alrighty, I'm back. Kibby's back. So as I said earlier, we're gonna go ahead and get this giveaway set up. Welcome. Thank you all for attending. We're gonna get into film, everything revolving film, addressing all your concerns and burning questions. Feel free to keep dropping them in general or in this chat or the stage chat. We're gonna just go ahead and get right on into it. But I guess we can start off with just saying how you guys feel about TGE. I mean, it's been a long time since the team, since ideating, since strategizing. Like we finally got to this point. So just wanted to get into how you all feel.
Are you asking us or are you asking the community?
Oh, I'm sorry, I should have been specific. How does the team feel about TGE?
I feel good. I mean, I don't see this as like the end of the road. I actually kind of see this as a starting point. There's clearly and obviously a lot to do. And when you have a live token, I think the pressure is mounted much more because there's expectations of bold beats, and we know how the space works, especially in crypto. There's there's a constant expectation of ensuring that people that have exposure in your token are feeling like it's worthwhile. So if I'm being bluntly honest with you, I think the road has just started. Granted, I know we've been putting a lot of work in for the platform, trying to make sure everything is right, and we're building something that is truly fulfilling a market gap. But in terms of the path forward, I feel like it's just getting started. So yeah, that's my feeling. Wonder, it's on you now.
What happened to Punisher? There we go. I can't sort out my mic, so if I'm quiet, I apologise.
You're good.
Cool. So yes, I think for a lot of you on this call, it has been a long journey. Like I'm not going to lie. Similar to I joined Gala back at the beginning of 2022 and was fortunate enough to be there. Well, I wasn't in person, Gala vs 22 when film was announced, but I was part of the team when we launched. Um, Soon after that, and then obviously we had pretty pretty cool 6 months lining up, different projects that are obviously different states coming through on the platform, whether or not they're live or hopefully going to go live very soon. And kind of over that last 2 years, I think when you kind of look back at the stuff that's happened, we've definitely hit a few world firsts. And so, whilst I appreciate that not everything's been plain sailing, and sometimes things aren't going at the pace that people want. I think firstly, just look at the market as a whole. I think we're on the rebound now, which is awesome. I think that's setting us up for a really positive 2025. I think across the whole Web3 journey. At the end of the day, I think we're all here to support Web3 along with film, Gala Film. And like I say, a few world first, like the DCDN, the work that our node is doing. Like there's a couple of kind of decentralized streaming platforms out there, but they're always owned by kind of the same company, which kind of defeats the purpose. I think Gala Film might be one of the first to actually run nodes with kind of people that are interested in the project, supporting from their home machines. Which is awesome. And then I think outside of that as well, you've got Razor. Like, what an awesome project to kickstart Gala Film with. And then for it to kick on and get the Emmy nomination, the first ever production in Web3 history, is again another magnificent feat for the people that have been kind of supporting and bringing that stuff to Gala Film. So I know there's like when I sit back, there's tons of stuff we've done. I'm sure we'll do like an end of year thing where we maybe bring some of those to the forefront. But I think those are the kind of sitting right at the top of my head, worth calling out. But after myself, Hazel, and Punisher have been in the team for over 2 years, it's great that we finally say goodbye to Popcorn, and we're finally on film. We have. I know that there's been a couple of people saying, "Have you checked the numbers? Are you right?" Yes, they are right. We've gone through it, I think about 5, 6 times. We reached out to a few people as well, and actually looked at how much the distribution was, looked at how many buckets they have. We were so careful in trying to make sure that everything added up correctly. So, just kind of going back and playing back, what's been discussed in the past. We wanted to implement a 10-to-1 ratio of kind of film to popcorn. So that was brought in. And all the multipliers that were discussed were also introduced as well. So hopefully everyone has, everyone's got their film. We rolled out over, I think it was 222,000 accounts are holding film token, which is absolutely awesome. Obviously shows the number of people that have come in and watched the content. Buckets are dead. So if you hold, well, I'm sure most people on this call hold some buckets. They're now completely useless. We've made sure that the copy in the NFT says that, and we've also updated the design to look like that. We do have a feature on Gala Connect, which actually allows you to burn NFTs. So if you want to go and get rid of them, but I was on it earlier today. It's not great because technically they're all individual NFTs, aren't they? They've all got their own unique IDs, which means that you have to go through them painstakingly, do one at a time. So we're going to work with that Gala Connect team, see if we can get a multi burn going on so that people can just get rid of anything in their account that they just want to get rid of, like these buckets, or you can keep them as a keepsake. It's there for you to do whatever it is that you want to do with them. Cool. So that was kind of the launch itself. I thought was relatively smooth. I appreciate that. Obviously, it's something that takes time, and we're a company, we're a global company. If you look at who's on this call, you're going to have people from all over the world. So when we say TGE's happening on the Thursday, obviously there's a good chance it does roll over into the Friday. But what's great is that I think by what would have normally have been Friday's distro time, I think Thursday's distro had then been sent out, and then Friday's on top of that. So awesome work from Punisher and the other engineers in the team in getting that through. And I think platform was pretty. I don't think it went down at all, which is great if people were coming in and watching the content. Let's see. This is. I'm sure there's a load of questions in here. Obviously,
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Top Boy, anything that you want to? Is there anything that's coming through?
Somebody's asking about UA, sorry, not UA, but user growth and numbers. Is that something we want to share? I think we should. We've definitely been looking at some charts internally. Definitely a pretty substantial uptick, but I don't know if we have plans on being a bit more public about just user base and growth. I think it makes sense to. But Wonder, I wanna get your thoughts on it.
Uh, I don't know. To be honest, it's not really a type of point that comes up in these meetings. I think that's more content marketing.
Yeah, that's more of an internal info thing, I think.
But I mean, like at the end of the day, people can go have a look at the data behind Gala Chain, and they can see that there's 222,000 accounts holding film. I think that's clear, and I think that we want it to go beyond that. We don't want it to be a few thousand people that are coming in every day. We want it to be in the 5-6 digits. And I think again, you can also go in to Gala Chain, and I think you can also see that we are. I think we're about 10 to 15,000 people daily getting film token every day, which is let's say it's a good number, but it's a base number. It needs to obviously grow and get larger and become where we know that Gala Film can be, and that obviously comes through. That just comes through all the things that we're doing on the platform. And now that film's live, I think people will take it a bit more seriously and get more involved now that there's actual token and value applied.
Yeah, Roger's asking why we got to mint tokens to be able to boost or buy moments. The reason for that is because what you have right now is an allowance. It's not necessarily on chain. It would need to be minted, and so the token is what has the utility, not the allowance. If your question is why that is a requirement, I think that's something that's been discussed at length. We've shared our position around it. I think depending on the lens you see it with, you're either going to argue that it was a good thing or a bad thing. I think to your point earlier, let's not talk about the past, let's talk about the future. Wink, wink. Or am I being too candid? Kitty, you can stop me if I'm being too candid.
No, you're good.
Okay.
I think you're good. I do want to interject really quickly though. So for those that are in attendance, the giveaway is live. So if you are here, please go to the giveaway section in Studio Backlot, react to that bot for a chance to win an I and Ico moment. Please understand that the winner, or in order to win, you have to be here until the end of the AMA. So just wanted to call that out really quickly.
I think another reason, so kind of going back to the allowance thing, at the end of the day, as soon as you mint a token, because originally the plan was basically to just, this is when we were first talking about token launch a good year ago. We were talking about just basically minting straight to Gala chain. And we were basically told by legal and finance that there are massive tax implications by doing that. You can see a lot. I'm sure most of you have seen how the price of the film token has been. Imagine if the minting happened when the price was at like 40 cents for the fraction of the time that it was. Like, there are some people on this call that have hundreds of thousands of film token. If they were to have minted and it was at 40 cents, that is basically what the tax man's going to see. And they'll hit you a bill against that. This is why we have the allowance. The allowance is there to protect everyone, and to stop those issues from happening. You mint when you want, based on your situation and when you want to do whatever you want to do. But obviously there are limitations as to what that means. So things like, and I agree, frustratingly, not being able to buy moments, getting involved in the locking. That is something that we are looking at, seeing if there are things that we can bring in. But obviously, what was more important is that we get this token live, get everything onto the right places. And I'm sure there are people commenting around, well, there's no utility. Well, no, there's no utility because we don't know what the value of the token is right now. We have a value on Uniswap, but Uniswap is erratic and it's not calmed down. I think Top Boy is going to talk about exchanges. So obviously when we have those, and then we have submitted everything to CoinGecko, I think we can talk about that. So you will find film being noted on CoinGecko hopefully this week or next week, depending on how long it takes for that stuff to get processed. So once that then comes in, it's at that point we can then start looking at, well, has things calmed down a bit? Can we start using this as a ticket, as a token with utility? Unfortunately, that's just how TGEs goes. And it's another reason why we're not on Gala Connect yet. So I think that's another area that people have been talking about. Well, I don't want to go to Uniswap. I don't want to get all this set up and this, that, and the other. And I agree. I think it's not a great experience having to go out and do all that. But yeah, Gala Connect is something we're looking at. But again, we just need to wait for everything to calm down a little bit, and then we can start moving forward with those things. But hopefully, you'll see some movement in these areas before Christmas. But I'm giving away all of Top Boy's stuff, so I'm gonna
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
back.
I mean, people are asking about utility for the token, what it could be used for purchasing in the store, whether things are going to be exclusive to film. I think I don't know if this AMA is the right place for that, but I know for a fact that a lot of the Gala store purchases will be exclusive to film. We are trying to prioritize burn of the film token and essentially the demand for it. Someone said, why wasn't this live pre-TGE or at the time of the TGE? I think there's a couple reasons for that. So we essentially, when we're pricing something in a cryptocurrency, we use the price API from CoinGecko, and film, as of right now, is not listed on CoinGecko. So we need to be able to get essentially real-time price so that we could price something within the Galafilm store. And film booths are actually live today. Many of you guys may not be able to engage in it unless you were to market buy film and bring it into the ecosystem. But as of right now, you can technically boost a particular film, increasing both its visibility and its potential reward. So that is one of the utilities that's live right now. And you guys will see a little bit more as soon as um, you know, film becomes a purchasable currency within the store. I agree. Ideally, it should have been live by now, but there are things honestly beyond our control that we can't really do much about, like CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap is a little bit slow in getting a token listed. We're trying to leverage, Gala's sort of brand and the work we've done with them in the past to get it listed quicker. But that might be a couple days still. And same thing with CoinGecko. I think within the next couple of days, you guys should be able to see, Gala Film, hopefully be able to favorite it and see all of the exchanges that it will be listed on in the future. Uh, yeah, I think there's another question around exchanges and which ones. We can't really speak to which exchanges for legal reasons, but I can tell you that we're fairly close on, um, you know, getting the right contracts in place to get the film token listed on several exchanges. I want to say tier one, tier two exchanges, probably some of the ones in top 10 to top 50 on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. Um, I can't be more specific than that, like I said. And obviously, we need the right volume and the liquidity around that. So we are looking to leverage market makers where we can. Um, how much I'm supposed to speak about, honestly, I haven't gotten the legal clearance for it, so I'm going to decide not to. But for anybody that's wondering, I think you can rest assured that film is going to be an accessible token. We have partnerships, we have um, a lot of contacts through the Gala name, and we're going to leverage as many of those as possible. So yeah, and I don't know where RNG is. I would have expected him to be here if he's not. I don't know. I hope he's well. Somebody check up on him.
Thanks, Top Boy. I'm loving seeing people's bans. I'd love to hear what people have been banned for as we're chatting. I got banned because I accidentally leaked that we had basically gotten the film token popcorn ready before music, whatever the music one was called. It wasn't Beams. What's the one before Beams? Hi-Fi's. And yeah, got banned by Bucks. But anyway, can't believe I got banned for delivering something early. That's another thing. But I'm gonna put that one on Punisher though, because he worked too quickly to deliver that one. Cool. Just kind of reading through. If all this stuff wasn't ready yet, why did TG happen? It is. The things aren't ready yet. It's just how a TGE works. Things are crazy. Things are all over the place. You'd never launch on a centralized exchange until you have a little bit of kind of stuff happening. I think that's pretty
Actually,
standard.
I want to give some context on that because I've had a couple people DM me asking me what it'll take for film to be on places like Binance and Coinbase and stuff like that. I think it's important to note that a lot of these exchanges, they are much more willing to speak to you, negotiate with you if you are bringing some momentum to the table. If you are not recognized for anything, the type of arrangements and the deals you get are not desirable. And if people in the community had visibility over that, you would understand that position. So there's a lot of things in the background that's you know we're trying to operate in the best interest of the growth of the company and the longevity of it, and at the same time not be forced to accept shitty deals when we know that that shouldn't be the case. So there's definitely things to consider there that people on the outside may not be particularly keen on or particularly in the know of. Herb, to your point, I think Gala is. I think film, while it's a sub brand of Gala, absolutely needs its own identity. And it's not as simple as um, you know, trying to ride the coattail of Gala every single time. We obviously on Gala chain, we've got close to 200,000 holders of film. So there's clearly momentum and clearly attention there that exchanges want a piece of, and those are the type of things you have to use to be able to negotiate your position with exchanges. And all that work is being done in the background, but um, yeah, it's hard for me to elaborate further without getting into specifics, but there's a lot that goes beyond the scenes in selecting the exchanges you work with, um, in ensuring that there's a fair negotiation, fair deal in place. I agree. It is a bit of a chicken and egg situation. Um, I still think though, and somebody mentioned it in general film a little while ago around the type of momentum you get from being listed on an exchange. I think it's fair to say that getting on exchanges and having listings inspires confidence, and that sort of helps with the momentum. But it's um, I would argue that it isn't as prominent as it once was, as like a catalyst to get that momentum. Now there's a lot of additional work and effort that needs to be done for obvious reasons. So, um, yeah, those are some of my thoughts on it. I know you had an agenda. There was a couple things you wanted to go through, so this might be the time.
No, no, I was just highlighting that the jumping all over the place. So it's all good. Just trying to think, kind of going through list of items there. But so it's that type of thing where it's like, do you answer questions? Do you go through the list?
Yeah, I think we could get to the main burning concern is just the strategy surrounding the burn mechanism and things of that nature. Maybe we could address that and then go more into the other Q&A.
Don't you think we've harped on that quite a bit? I know the night prior, I hopped on a quick AMA. I know the crowd wasn't as big as it is right now, but we've talked about that quite extensively in general film. I think our position is pretty firm on the fact that we think it was a necessary measure. Many could argue why it was in a position where it needed to be a necessary measure, and that's a fair comment and criticism. But you know, we're working towards whatever we feel is the healthiest for the sustainability and stability of both the token and the ecosystem altogether. So um, it was necessary. It was suboptimal, and different users are going to have different feelings about it. But as of right now, that's you know it needed to be done.
Got it. Yeah, I think, some people missed that AMA as it was impromptu. So just to recap for those who weren't there and those who don't read chats, but it's clear enough. I think we have that. And I think we can just continue with the other questions. I know people are asking about content. The team is working on an updated content roadmap. We do want to set expectations for next year. So that'll be something we'll release either the end of this year or early next year. But we'll make sure that that is updated for you all. Honestly, we need a whole new roadmap, not just for content, but we'll make sure it's one that's content specific.
I think there's a couple of. So I think I replied to this. Was the 100 Gala mint fee because of film TGE? No, it was coincidence. To be honest, I was surprised. It kind of came out of the blue, and I was informed after it was actually implemented. I was quite annoyed that actually it happened at the same time, because, like I say, to Roger's point, there makes it look like they coincided at the same time, and there I am sitting. We're given, we've brought this 75% tax in, and now we're saying 100 Gala as well. So yes, that was coincidence. That was not because of the film TGE. And talking about the 5% perpetual tax, like I'm not gonna. I think it's been a few people comment on that. I think that firstly, that 5% doesn't go to Gala. It gets burnt, and that's one of the key things that's going to be important for the film token in general. We want to make sure that the token is burned. We don't want it just sitting there in a wallet. So the idea is that when you, so for example, with all this tax, I think all of you are aware that the 70%, whatever it is today, all of that is burned. You should be able to see that, and also that kind of ties in. We've just, I'm sure most of you are aware that there's a lotto going on right now on Gala. I think 1 million Galas being added every day in December, and anyone that burns Gala film or music from today are basically entered for a ticket. So I guess a little silver lining on that. But yeah, it's important that we make sure that film is core to the ecosystem. It's core to everything we do, and so when so we will be making it the focus of the platform. We will be making sure that it's the thing that we're looking to drive. And I think that obviously staying in the platform, kind of holding your token is part of that. And so I say that 5% tax come end of February when we're down to 5%. Could that change? Yes, I'm not, as with all things, anything might change. But let's assume that it's not. That 5% will continue to be burned, and as part of that burn, that will then go back. I think the idea is this pot that has been mentioned as part of this vesting tax that will also continue to be there. So those that hold, they'll also continue to get rewarded for kind of holding and keeping it in the ecosystem. So that's why the tax is there.
If you think about it, that's kind of a workaround to another staking. Of course, staking needs to have predictable rewards, and we can't really do that in the US. But we could build out mechanisms where it is rewarding to be a long-term holder in unique methods like this. Even the 5% perpetual tax. And I think tax is not the right word. Wonder is the one who pointed it out, and I agree with him. It's more of a fee. Tax would imply that it is within, it's taken from that allowance when instead it's actually required externally, or a fresh set of film is required for it. So it is a 5% fee, but a portion of that 2.5% is actually going to be redistributed to the same quote unquote diamond hand pool or the redistribution pool, and that's confirmed by benefactor. So yeah, we're not going back on the word there. But yeah, I hope that answered the question. Sorry, I wonder if I took your thunder.
No, good. Obviously, we're talking about the 100 Gala. Feels like 100 Gala came at the same time, and negative plus negative. And maybe personally, I'd just be happy for the fee to be a set USD amount. And
I wonder there's a salty community member by the name of Hutch.eth. He's asking about indies and pitches, and when that's going to be prioritized in the roadmap. Do you want to speak to that? I really don't like that guy. I'm joking, actually. For people that Hutch is, he's a close friend of mine. I realize most people wouldn't get the banter.
It's too of a strong language to say for it. But our associate Hutch, and I think a few other people have asked about it as well, and it does kind of tie into utility, so I think it's fair. So I think there's actually a diagram, Top Boy, that you have that has all some of the utility on there. I don't know if we want to flash that up, but yeah, let's go to indies and pitches. So pitches, the idea behind pitches is that people can put their ideas up and they can support a film, and they can put their film to support it. That is still the plan. That's still part of the list. Um, the, the 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 issue ultimately is that you guys need film to have pictures. So where we are right now doesn't make sense. Plus, also, how volatile is the token in the sense that let's say that we set a threshold. We set a threshold today. Next day, it could end up being 5x. The next day, it could be 0.1 of what it is. Like we need things to settle down. So it's not the time to launch pitches. I think we also need to make sure that the token is on centralized exchanges, and we need it on Gala Connect until all of those things are live. If people can't access pitches, and for pitches to be a success, we want people outside of the Gala community to come in and support it. It's not just the community that drives that kind of thing. And then for
Wonder, I'm sorry,
indies,
I already put Q1. Yeah, I already put Q1 2025. But you have more control over that roadmap, so apologies.
yeah, no, it's all fine. And then for indies, kind of we need a pipeline of independent films for that to happen. We have a place on the website where people can reach out and provide their ideas. Those ideas are currently being vetted and reviewed by people like Hazel and a couple of other people in the team. And then once we have that kind of enough to get going on indies, that's when we will have that kickoff as well. So they are still on the pipeline. That has not changed. We just obviously need the pipeline of stuff for it to be useful propositions. Personally, there'd be nothing worse than something coming in and then for it not to be used again for 3 months. So we're managing a pipeline, and then we'll get things live. And also, I think it's the same for pitches. You don't want to come up and, like, if you were to go on Kickstarter and there's nothing on there, kind of puts you off the idea. So again, working with studios and filmmakers about upcoming ideas, and then getting those onto the platform to kind of kickstart it off.
Somebody was asking about the partnership that we've been quite hush about, but we've leaked at the same time, so we kind of teased them. Do we have anyone on the call that could speak to that, or the latest with the TV manufacturer? Maybe Dino? They want to know.
Hazel, it's a week too early, but to be honest, I think we might have been told that a few times. So I think, unfortunately, it is it's a legal thing. We can't say anything, which is really frustrating.
Okay, I'm sorry for bringing it up.
Yeah, we can say that it is progressing though.
Oh yeah, it's in the final stages. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, but yeah. Let's just say that we're ready so that when things are signed, we can have the conversations required to move it forward.
Do you want to talk about Gala Connect and when we could expect to see film on Gala Connect? More of an internal chain team thing. I don't know if you have any visibility into that. Wonder.
Sorry, I'm only up to 6:35, so I've still got another 5 minutes worth of messages to catch up on. People are writing too many
All
things.
good, all good. People have asked about it previously. I have some thoughts on Gala Connect and why it was more of a deck strategy. On Ethereum as an ERC20, I think Ethereum, it's fair to say, has a lot more visibility than Gala Chain at the current moment with Gala Swap and Gala Connect. I echo some of the sentiment from the community around it being peer-to-peer and um, not an automated MM situation like other DEX pools. So, but we obviously are going to have it on Gala Connect. It's just a matter of when. Wonder, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, I thought you had answered the question. I was, I've only gotten to the point where people are calling Hutch a god, and I also feel like his ego must be pretty inflated, comments like that. So let's move past those ones. And yeah, so obviously with I think a few people seeing there, it's like the Web 2 users and going to Uniswap to get the 5%. Obviously, that's not let's say the long term view on it. Let's say whether or not it's the centralized exchanges or Gala Connect, or who knows if that changes in the future. So I understand it's not a great view.
We should bring in Benefactor in one of these AMAs though and help facilitate it for him. I think people will be happy to hear that or hear from him. In some of my recent conversations with him, film is definitely top of mind. And there's a lot we're looking to prioritize for film, but I know certain people are tired of hearing that. So I think now it's just we walk the walk. That's all.
Just replying to Tropics NB. Noticed current boost under charts. Firstly, how beautiful is the charts page? I go in it every day. So much better seeing that stuff there. I'm quite surprised there hasn't been questions yet of when this global distribution page, so we can clearly see tokens going out to and this, that, and the other. So we are working on that page, hoping that that is live before but going back to the question, boost under charts is 1.1%, but I also own all the Galaverse scenes. So those are different things. You know, there are different forms of boosts in the platform, and they all kind of do slightly different things. So you've got your Galaverse scenes and BT orbs. Those affect your boost across the entire proposition, and so that is unique to you based on what you have in your wallet. Then you have your scenes boosts, which appreciate. I think there was someone correctly called out, but there was a typo mistake for those that have collected everything. If you have collected all the scenes, that's a 50% boost on your moments. Even though the copy said 20, it was 50. That is automated. That's all back end. So there was no mistakes when it actually came to calculations. And so obviously completing scenes give you 10 to 30% associated to those moments for that film. And then you have this film boost, where if you lock your film token against a film, that is going to drive a boost against all the moments for that entire associated with that film. So there are different boosts. Yeah, there are different boosts across the platform. So yeah, I appreciate that you've submitted a ticket. Hopefully that answers your question.
There's another question regarding node owner rewards. You know, what is the plan to, I guess, better reward our node owners, or can we speak on the things that we're ideating, or just anything we can touch on?
Wonder, is that something you want to touch on? I can give my thoughts, but they're not completely ironed out or locked in internally. So my thoughts are, I think, you know, as we sort of continue to progress on this path of what we're building, it's going to be important to stay monitoring and assess the different participants and the rewards they're getting for the value that they bring into the ecosystem. And I think it is fair to say that currently, node owners could use a little bit of extra love, given some of the recent changes in the white paper. We have been ideating. I've also been talking to Benefactor a little bit about this as well, in how we help improve the proposition for node operators to continue operating, and feel like they're being looked after. One of the recommendations or suggestions from a community member was a concept similar to what we used to do for Founders Node, where um, anytime something was minted, a portion of it was distributed randomly to live node operators. That became unsustainable fairly quickly. So um, we'd love to use some inspiration from that and apply it here for theater nodes, but the exact mechanics and specifications probably won't be shared on this call because we're still actually discussing it internally. But I think it is fair to say um, that node operators could probably use another look in ensuring that the value they're bringing through actually hosting the content within our ecosystem should be a fair trade and uh, should be rewarded um, well. So that's all I could say. I won't forget about you, Goliath. I promise. I own a
Yeah, our
couple
node
nodes myself, so yeah.
our node owners are super appreciated. As I've said, you guys are the backbone of the ecosystem, so we definitely want to make sure that you guys feel valued for sure.
And when she says you guys, she's including me because I purchased a couple nodes myself.
Absolutely. Top Boy Cube. We always want to make sure he feels valued. I think another thing that's also kind of concerning that I've been seeing for the past week or so is just what is the long-term vision, I guess. Well, not vision, but I guess yeah, vision. Some people kind of feel like we may take this a similar path to music in terms of our token. So I don't know if we can speak to how we think we'll differ. I know you've probably touched on that in the past, but I don't know if we really did a deep dive into that.
Oh yeah, this is a bit of a loaded question. Uh, I regret asking the harder questions. Um, Yeah, I think it's fair. In fact, some of the KOLs that we spoke to, they're asking similar questions in how we plan to differentiate ourselves and ensure that we have a slightly different path than maybe some of our other past experiences. Um, it is definitely a loaded question. I'm probably not going to do justice to it because I'm not prepared to answer it. But I will say that um, we we want to lean into why we created Gala Film in the first place. We know that there are elements of Hollywood that are broken, and we know that blockchain introduces certain features that help resolve some of the core issues that Hollywood experiences and that content creation and distribution experiences. So we want to lean into that as much as possible, and we want to leverage external parties to help us, bring that momentum in talking about why Gala Film exists, um, and then we want to take the right measures to protect the stability of the ecosystem where necessary and make those harder decisions even if they're unpopular at times. If you look at how the token generation event occurred, I think there's some fair criticism around the late announcement around the tax and preventing the extractive behavior. And while that criticism is fair, I think it was one of those necessary things that perhaps music could have done a little bit differently. And so many projects fail to do that right initially, and then you're deep in the waters, and it's definitely harder to recover from that. Not impossible, but harder to recover. And so we are trying to take learnings from wherever we can, internally, externally, in the Web3 space in general, um, and try to make the right decisions that protect the ecosystem as much as possible for as long as possible. Um, yeah, that's kind of a cheap response to your question because I know it's a big one. But perhaps, we we take that internally, and we talk about it a little bit and come out with like an official sort of response to that question, because there is a lot that we intend on doing differently. I think being more respectful of the fact that we are in the space that we're in, and a lot of it is built off of the speculative layer, and so embracing that and leaning into it as much as possible, as opposed to silently working in the background and building quietly. Um, that tends to not do a good job with capturing the attention that is necessary to be successful in the space that we're in. Um, yeah, that's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah, and I agree. I think a lot of the critiques that we do get from the community is more than fair, especially when it comes to comms and how we address certain things. I think, you guys aren't as keen as to like internal flows and hurdles, so we just need to do a better job at prepping to make sure we can have some of these things land on time. But then some things are just uh out of our control. But we hear you, and this is one of the reasons why we came to speak to you today. So we're aligned.
Someone's asking, how do I feel like I'm trapped, or how do I get out of this like I'm trapped? I don't know what that question means, but if you elaborate, we'll try to answer.
Are they trolling about the 90 days? Where is that? Is that in the stage chat or in general?
Oh yeah, I've definitely been seeing some narrative building around that.
Yeah.
Some FUD for sure, because people are emphasizing the fact that it's a 75% burn, and they don't highlight the fact that it's not indefinite and it's progressively diminishing, and the intentions that it was done with. I think all of those are important pieces of context to include as you talk about it, but it's expected. It is what it is. Yeah.
Really quick, just to address the Iron Ico question. Iron Ico is completed. It's nowhere near similar to the Ghost of Ruins situation. It was always a short film, and that's just the length of the film. So just want to answer that quickly.
I know we can't really speak to specific KOLs. Um, that is something that we're looking to leverage in a manner that is suitable for what we're looking to do. That sounded very politically correct, but um, KOLs is something that we think is quite essential. Unfortunately, a bit more essential than I would like, um, knowing where the space is. But we're looking at all the measures that bring the right type of success to a crypto project, and I think we need to embrace that aspect of our business. That we are definitely within the cryptocurrency industry, the crypto space, and neglecting that or not respecting that honestly doesn't bring the right success. And I think some of our past unsuccessful endeavors, and I say unsuccessful because I think there's definitely a good path forward in a lot of them. Um, some of the unsuccessful endeavors have come from simply not embracing the space that we're in and how it operates, and you know trying to do right by that.
Yeah, and not just KOLs. There's a lot of also PR efforts. As I mentioned previously in a few announcements, we are working with a PR agency. As of now, Film and Gala Film has been featured in roughly 100 publications slash outlets. We did make an announcement or a post on X yesterday about Business Insider. There's another one scheduled today for Associated Press. We're gonna strategically roll these out across our socials. We don't want to make our socials account a big, oh, look here, this article is here. We want to make sure that we're always leading with content, and then of course focusing on other things that we offer. But yeah, film is being talked about in more than one area, Web 2 and Web 3.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we've unlocked the UA for Web 2 just yet. I think we have the right mechanisms and quite a bit of polish in our platform to be able to unlock that. But I think um, that is like a whole separate world, which I think inspires confidence to the type of people that we've traditionally been able to onboard. The reward seeking people that want to have exposure to a specific token, but getting just pure entertainment seeking users to come in and enjoy using our platform, I think there's definitely um, I think that unlocks a lot for us, and it's an active area of focus for the team, especially now.
Yeah,
We talk
100%. I
about
think.
oh,
Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I agree. I think that the main thing, which is making sure that we're ready for Web 2, that's one of the reasons why we incorporated the non-transfer code mystery boxes, and we have a few other layers we want to add to the platform just to make sure that there's like education for those users. But I agree 100%. I think that'll be a whole new user base that'll definitely benefit everybody in the ecosystem, including them.
Yeah, I think Web 2 UA is probably the biggest problem to solve. Um, yeah, I mean, that is the underlying business, right? So if the underlying business is successful, I think everybody who's been a part of it, who wants exposure in the growth of the ecosystem, I think they benefit, and the biggest benefits come from unlocking that area. So I'm definitely with you there.
Because I'm gonna try and break down this comment that has started from Crypto Phantom, and I think Major Raw Dog is trying to explain it to me. I've only had one cup of tea today, so maybe I'm just not following. But is the 1.5 million film for 20% max boost for all titles, or does that vary per title? That's what 1.1% translate to at 100% boost for INAC. Like Top Boy or Kimmy, or maybe Major Raw Dog comes on. Like, I want to answer that question, but I can't. I just can't seem to process what they're asking.
Me neither. Me neither. It might be because of the lens we see things with, but yeah, that the question does make sense to me. But I can tell you that each film you boost has an separate independent reward boost for that particular film. And when you collect all the moments for a particular series or title, the boost you're getting is for that film. It's not like a global boost for your entire account. It's title specific. And the next content drop, I think I know, but I don't think I could answer that question. And can we talk about Savage Lands, Witchboard, Common Ground? I could talk about Witchboard, not from a timeline perspective. I think that is definitely a 2025 thing, some perhaps Q1 and Q2. But please don't take my word for it. I'm not on the content team. I'm not
Don't
super
give
in
time.
tune with the content calendar. But I've watched Witchboard, and it's probably one of my favorite horror films that I've seen in a long time, and I think it's one of those ones where um, it can capture and bring the type of attention we're looking for on Gala Film. Absolutely. Savage Lands I haven't seen, so I can't really talk about it. Common Ground I've seen as well. Great film, but I take it that's not what he was asking about.
Sorry, I'm still trying to process. So it's just broke it down again. Based on the 1.1%, it looks like it will take 1.5 million to get to 20%. I don't think that's correct. By 20%, you mean 200%. But does it mean all films will have that quantity requirement? Does that amount? So basically, for the percentages are fixed across all films. So if you put in 100 film for Razor and then you put 100 film in for Aiko, the percentage boost is the equivalent. So I don't know if that's answering the question. If not, we could take it offline, Crypto Phantom, and then maybe put it back. But I think might have been ours that there we go. Yeah. So if they need training, we have failed, and 100%. That is correct. I'm assuming that's talking about the Web 2 users. Like how I see it in my head is that it needs to be as simple as kids at an arcade. You go to an arcade, you put in your £5 into the machine, you get your little tokens, or I guess it's now a card these days. You do the actions, you do your games, and out the back of it, you get some paper tokens, or in a really boring world, is credits on your card. And then you go to a counter and you can redeem stuff, and that's kind of where we need to get for this proposition. And being able to and then you can go to the counter and then it's like, well, good afternoon, what would you like? Do you want some mystery boxes? Do you want to go support a film? It's that type of thing that we should be trying to do. Do free box contain different content than paid ones? Slightly, there's some overlap, obviously shards, but yeah, paid boxes will have token in it, and I think better odds of
Okay,
prizes.
there's definitely more questions coming up. I actually have to drop, unfortunately. Sorry, Kibby, I don't know how much time we allotted for this. I got to drop, but I'll try to get back into general film and see if there's any other burning questions, and I'll try to answer them. But I got to go for now. Thank you, everyone, for your time, and we'll talk soon.
Talk soon. Thanks
Take
for
care.
joining.
No
And speaking of time, we did a lot, about an hour for this, so we are a little bit over time. But if there are any other burning questions while we still have Wonder here, feel free to share before we wrap.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, just appreciate that it's it's the team haven't necessarily been in to Discord as much as we, well, I guess at times have. We've just been so heads down in trying to get all these pieces together. I know that Kibby obviously is in every day doing a great job, and I think Benefactor even came in after TGE, and was just doing Benefactor things. But yeah, obviously now that TGE's out, like from the team's perspective, I appreciate that obviously the tax isn't kind of what everyone wants. I think there's some of you that kind of have that economics lens, and they kind of and they can see the benefit of bringing in something harsh like this. You see a lot of tokens, especially at the moment, going incredibly wild in both a good way and a bad way. And for film, we obviously want to make sure that we're an ecosystem that's here for years and years and years, not a flash in the pan. So whilst I appreciate it's not it's not favourable and it's not great, I personally, it should be good to access your content. But I mean, technically you're still able to, but having to go to Uniswap or an exchange or even Gala Connect is not great. But hopefully over the next 90 days, firstly, you'll see a lot more utility coming to the platform. I think that's kind of a good indicator of that does give us 90 days to make sure that everything is live and ready. I know that obviously people are mentioning about the utility. So all the stuff that we've been talking about today, that hopefully helps with some of the thoughts on roadmap and timelines. And then, I think we just need to make sure that those that have held on, we'll obviously make sure that all that burn, well, not all of it, but a good proportion of it is then shared back again. The rest of it obviously being burned forever, so that it helps maintain the distribution that comes out.
Perfect. And I'll just really quickly announce the winners of the giveaway. So congrats to Crypto Bora, Vero, Durpin, the Old Gamer, and Parzival. Oh my goodness. The band member has won. So please go ahead and open up a ticket for me, and provide your registered email address, and we'll make sure to get that I column pack to you. So congrats. And I think that's all, Wonder. I think we need to get back to building and getting a lot of these things finalized. If there are any other questions or concerns, as always, address us in general film and we'll be able to address those concerns. So
And
you all for joining.
I think
Oh.
it's important that these sessions might seem brutal. I think the questions are hard, but I think they're fair. There's a lot of unfortunately, the reveal of the tax came in late. I think that's it's not great. And then also just generally, I think as we start moving forward, it's important that we keep this going. And I think hopefully we all agree that Kibby is a great Discord manager. In that she doesn't go around banning people. Head to games, head to music. They can be a bit trigger happy in those areas. But I think it's important that people voice their opinion, voice their stuff on here. And Kibby, I think you mentioned that you haven't banned someone for. Well, I think there was someone threatening to shoot people the other day, so I think you banned someone for that. But outside of that, I think you haven't banned someone for ages, and that's important for the film team. Like it's important that people get their thoughts out, positive, negative. We're here to kind of get work through all these comments here to try and answer as much as we can, to the extent that we can, because obviously from legal perspective, there's a lot that we can't do, and that must be incredibly frustrating, and we appreciate that. But hopefully as soon as we're able to reveal stuff we can do, and obviously the sexes is a great example of that, the TV app is another example of that, the content is another example of that. So um, appreciate your patience.
Absolutely. I think we'll go ahead and wrap on that. Couldn't have said it better myself, Wonder. All right.
Thanks, Gibby.
I'll let it in the stage.
Thanks all.